Welcome to Wednesday, Secular Soapbox Day here on the Skeptic Haven Network. Today I'll be joined by my favorite co-host, Apostacie, and special guest, Secular Rarity. Let's start the show. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome, Apostacie,
Woo.
Secular Rarity. Nice to meet you, finally.
Yeah.
Man, how's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
Exciting show, man.
Yeah. We've got fun stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in. Who are you? What you do for the folks at home that don't know?
Like you said, Secular Rarity. Also, my name is Elliot. I'm public about that. I have been for a while. So however you want to address me in chats or comments when you're saying mean things, that's always, whichever you prefer, whichever is easier for you to type. I know like sometimes on the phone, it's not as easy, so, just call me all sorts of names and whatever. But what do I do? Most of my friends refer to me affectionately as a stream hobo in a lot of atheist online spaces. So I hop around a bunch of different channels and I talk about God or not God or religions and the crap that they do and science, philosophy, whatever. Currently, I'm one of the hosts on Talk Heathen every Sunday for the ACA. At 1 p.m. Central. So that is awesome. I'm very excited. I'm actually going to be on again this Sunday with the wonderful student Dr. Ben. So great dude, good friend of mine, and always love hanging out with him. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I also help out with a whole handful of different wonderful people and wonderful shows in a variety of ways. And so yeah, when I was asked to come back on here, I was like, heck yeah, I love these people. So I'm always glad to be here.
Awesome.
Well, here you are helping us out. We appreciate it.
Well, whatever. I mean, you might regret it by the end, but we'll just see after like an hour or so.
No regrets, man. No regrets.
Not at all.
So how long you been doing this?
I guess so. The first thing I ever did was I started helping behind the scenes with Your Friendly Neighborhood Atheist. So Ethan Michael helped out on his show, The Perspective and the Pickup Line and stuff. And that was, I guess at this point, honestly, about 2 years ago, which is really weird to think that it's been about that long, but I guess it has. And
time flies, man.
Yeah. From there, it's been a whole handful of different things that I've done. I started jumping on shows not super long after that, and a couple of different channels. And next thing I knew, somebody was saying, "Hey, could you help out doing something volunteering for the atheist community of Austin?" I was like, "Yeah, I got a little time." And then I hopped on Truth Wanted with Objectively Dan one day, and that was great. And they asked if I could come back and do some nonprofits. And, from there, it's just like, yeah, I just kind of anytime anybody, is dumb enough to ask me to come on, I'm glad to take them up on it. So, but I do a lot of different things for sure. And I do a good handful of things in public as well, like in person. So a buddy of mine in the area, he has a whole organization that puts atheists and theists in the same room talking about stuff in front of crowds and peoples and stuff. And
awesome.
It was great. I've gotten to help out with a conference now that happened in my area. Got to hang out with a whole handful of different people in person, Dave Warnock and Seth Andrews, Thomas Westbrook, and am just honestly thrilled with everything I've gotten to do. So it's been a lot of fun, and I just keep accepted when somebody says like, "Hey man, we don't have anybody, like, would you be there?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, dude." So again, you may regret it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's so much fun. Get to meet everybody, get to do all that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why did you start doing all of this, though? What brought you to the atheist in action, essentially?
So I don't know. So I've been so I'm 28. I've been non-religious for about 10 years, pretty on the dot. But I've been actively, taking the label of atheist for at least the last 8. And I've always just kind of been somebody that like just doesn't stop talking. So there's that, right? But years went by of me just watching stuff. I mean, I spent, 4 or 5 years just watching all the classic debates, from all the big names and, reading different articles and looking up podcasts and finding books and yada, 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 yada. Right. And, one day watching a show and somebody said, "Hey, we need some help." And I said, I got a little bit of time right now. We'll see what, reach out, see if there's anything I can do. And they said, yeah, help out in some small way. And hey, if you can do this too. And next thing I know is, like I said, I'm just hanging around talking to people. And
did you grow up in the church, or was it just?
Yeah, I was raised Methodist. And I was very active in the last few years, more so in music than anything. So I played music in a couple of different capacities at my church for a while. I was an acolyte, is what the Methodists call it, where you do the whole altar boy thing and candles and I was actually I was actually walking around the other day, just wasn't thinking about anything religious or atheist or not, just wasn't anything. Just all of a sudden, this song got stuck in my head, and I was humming it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's the song we would sing after collecting all the collection plates."
What's the song?
That's the song. No,
it's because we used to sing one, and it's always stuck in my head.
It was the "Praise God from whom." Oh no! So we did the "Praise God from whom all blessings flow." Praise Him, all creatures here below. Yep, the Methodists are. Yeah, they're just strict enough on a lot of those rules. It's very weird, and their whole history is particularly terrible. But yeah, they like a lot of the rituals like that. Just enough to make everybody do stuff together, but not enough to be like Catholic about it. So because they were just too far.
Almost.
That's just crazy. Yeah, exactly. And like literally, that's actually where the term Methodist come from, is when John Wesley was originally kind of organizing and formalizing the theology. People would like point out his group and be like, "Ha, they're so strict, they're Methodists." And he was like, "You know what? We are. We are. You're right, man. Hey guys." So I mean, whatever. Church. Yeah, I will say my favorite of all the things about the Methodists, my absolute favorite is, if you look in the front of a Methodist hymnal, you will see there are instructions on how to. Yeah, so sorry, Joe. So sorry again. Yes.
Sorry, Joe.
But there are instructions from John Wesley on how to sing the songs, and it literally is like you need to sing these songs with just enough enthusiasm, but not so much, that you're like dishonoring God. And by the way, like, keep strict time, because you don't want to sing them too slow, because that'll make God mad. And then also just make sure not to speed them up, because then it'll sound like you're too raucous, and you're like,
or that too.
Keep your shit together in front of God, because these songs really matter. But yeah, I did a lot of the music and stuff. And
what was the music like? Did they have instruments?
Oh yeah.
Like
did you play bass?
I grew up more Pentecostal, so there was.
Yeah, you guys a little bit
Had
different on
the
that for
drums
sure.
and the electric guitar.
Yeah, tambourines, people dancing
Yeah.
and convulsing in
Yeah.
the aisles. You know.
Yeah.
It was
We
probably not like
so
that.
we're again, it was this weird like middle ground between like, hey, we really can't do like any music whatsoever.
Right.
And then like, okay, we can't be like it can't just be like a party. Like I remember one time when I was younger, I was dating somebody who went to a Baptist church. And this was like right around the time I was realizing there was like a difference in sex and stuff and denominations. And I was like, I was there at a service with her, and halfway through like the pastor speaking, some like quiet music started playing to accompany him. And I was like, oh, this is familiar to me. Like I get this so far. But what I wasn't ready for was the man who had been sitting behind us the whole time, who had like greeted us earlier in the service, just pulling a microphone out from his pocket and like standing up and like, Jesus, and like 6 other people that had been sitting in the crowd the whole freaking time, like congregating in the aisle like that with microphone and like walking down. And like, it was beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful in the sense that it was like, it was a choreographed scene and it all came together well. Yeah, but but it was like, I was like, oh my God, that's too much. I mean, we had a drum set and a guitar and you know, bass and a small choir and stuff, but that really was more the earliest service where it was trying to be a little bit more hip to stuff.
Right. Okay.
The traditional service was just the choir. They'd get up there, they'd sing, they'd sit down, they'd stand up, they'd sing a couple hymns, they'd sit down. So it kind of sits in a middle ground between stuff. Like I remember specifically, like, again, talking about the Pentecostals and a handful of other evangelical and type of churches and stuff, and them being like, oh, they're way too much. You know, they're just basically playing rock music at this point. Yeah, it was never super hardcore on a lot of things, and yet it was strict in a lot of different basic stuff. It was still, you know, obviously conservative, pulled back. Again, they're saying, you know, you can't play too much guitar because then it's just not honoring God, right? But yet they were like, we want a little guitar, you know, like we want some, like we want just enough.
Aunt Jer says, I attended a church that literally sang "Celebrate Good Times."
so
I'm sure my church would have done that at one point.
Man.
Right. Right around the time I was leaving,
secular music.
I was part of a youth band at the church. It had kind of like just started getting going. Need somebody to play drums. I'm the man.
There it is.
And we
it's the drummers that always stray.
we learned "Won't Back Down" by Tom Petty. And did the South Park thing where like every place it said "baby," we just changed it to Jesus. I'm not even kidding.
Love it.
Like
the
guitarist came in and was just like, "This is close enough." And I was like, I don't think so. I love Tom Petty, but okay.
Oh, don't do it.
So, yeah, we did. We totally did. It was great.
Man.
It was a great time.
That's
it worked, and Jesus was praised, and still to this day, I haven't been smited, and I have to think it's because of that. And no,
you were extra careful.
So what was her name? Amy Grant did the same thing, didn't she? She did the whole Jesus thing and then turned it around and put a dude in.
Yeah.
Hey, look, honestly, it's I give them credit for the marketing and creativity of it. Like, hey, make your money. Like, I'm not, you know, sell your rights and get your royalties. I'm all for it, but you know, also like it's a little cheap.
Speaking of songs, do you have a favorite religious song? I mean, we all got our guilty pleasures, but is there still a song that's like, yeah, it's kind of a fun song. I like that one.
So that I think is one of the biggest problems about a lot of religious music, especially the Christian stuff. Like specifically, for instance, Hillsong Like that's their whole shtick.
Mhm.
Their whole shtick was sitting around just being like, how can we make like really catchy, like super popular music, but just like actually give really shitty messages and just talk about Jesus all day and how much we love him. And so like there are a couple of Hillsong songs where it's like I'll hear it and I'll be like, oh, you know what? That's actually
Oceans.
Yeah. What's is it? Do they do Mighty to Save? Are they the ones that do?
Yeah.
That one sticks in my head
That
every
one
so
was-
often. I don't know if y'all know Shout to the Lord.
Shout to the Lord.
Yeah,
Oh man.
It's like if you know the formula, if you understand music well enough, you can write enough of a catchy tune that, you know, especially when people are just like forced to sing it because it's on the program. I mean, like, yeah, they'll end up really enjoying it and having enough of a good time. Yeah, there's a couple of songs like that for sure. There was one that was just like it didn't. Awesome God, like my God is an awesome God.
Yes, I was just thinking that one.
Was
Man.
so good. At the very end too, when everyone
Newsboys
would
or
clap.
something.
Our God.
There was a band that did it, and it was like just with guitars and rock, and it was just like, oh God. It was like, man, I used to sing that all the time. It was so much fun.
Right?
I used to listen to
Flogging Molly or something though.
Yeah. I was gonna say I used to listen to DC Talk.
Yes, I mean, who did
Jesus
them? Jesus.
Yeah. Oh man, DC Talk. Jesus Freak was it, man. That was it.
Yeah,
that was like the epitome of
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually
the original tape. Did you guys have the tape?
Mm-mm.
The original like DC Talk tape. And I love rap music. I love rap music. Yeah, I'm gonna sing on this show. That's what's gonna happen.
Good. I actually went to the Hillsong campus in Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a huge Hillsong fan.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I went when I was there. It was like on my bucket list of places to go, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, especially like now like after
I'm
the
like,
fact.
I
Yeah.
cannot believe.
Yeah. Just a cesspool, apparently.
It is. Yeah.
Apparently, Jesus this, Moses that. Abraham hit me with the wiffle ball bat.
That sounds catchy.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know this particular song, but
You ever
I'm
heard that one?
interested. No,
Never heard
very
it.
interested.
Sunday school every day, all the time.
That's funny.
Oh, so besides drumming, were you involved in the church at all? Did you ever do like any sermons or teach the Sunday school or something?
Never any sermons. I did some guest speaking, small, like, presentation or, inform about this or that or whatever, like, Easter and Lent.
Cool.
Like there's always, things about lighting candles and shit like that. And, Christmas time around then, there's always like one or two weeks leading up or afterwards where they're like, hey, like, let's get some other people up here and say
Somebody else do this.
yeah. But other than stuff like that, no, mostly it was the music stuff. So I played drums in a couple of different things, whether it was the youth thing or some more orchestral stuff and like percussion stuff for the actual choir and the traditional service. But handbells and hand chimes were one of the things I did for a really long time. So yeah.
Wow, like the ding 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 ding.
Oh,
ding,
yeah.
ding, ding, ding,
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
talented. I watch people do that all the time. It's so talented.
I miss it greatly. I
You
miss it
watch
greatly.
people do that all the time.
Well, like Christmas, every time it's Christmas, there's always somebody
Where do you
doing it.
go?
There's a box that shows things to me. I don't know. Oh man, that's fun, man. That's fun. That's really talented, though. I couldn't do those bells. It's a lot of work.
They're really enjoyable. When you have like 14 people that are able to play, like 8 freaking octaves or whatever, it can get really, really fun. They're incredibly expensive. They can also get very heavy. They take up a lot of fucking space. There's just no way around any of that. So it's like who else is gonna do this but church choirs?
Do you have to wear the white gloves?
So I guess not technically, but you really should. You really should be wearing like you really should be
Is there
wearing
a
soft
reason
gloves
for it,
like
or is it
that.
just all just for
You fuck
show?
up the brass.
Oh,
You fuck up the brass. Yeah, it's
Ah.
really expensive. Again, the bells are really expensive.
Do you have a set currently?
No, God, no.
Oh,
God,
man.
no.
I was gonna have you play something.
No.
Maybe our God is an
No,
awesome
no.
God or something.
No.
Ding,
I have a
ding.
handful of musical instruments around and some more kind of in storage somewhere, but most of them are big and most importantly very loud. And like that's always the, it's kind of hard to set up a 9-piece drum set and just like play it regularly unless there's nobody near you. So
Electric drum set.
people get
That's what
annoyed. Yeah, well, I know.
we do that here at the house.
I'm just a baby about the real feel of the heads and the bounce back
and the acoustics of it. And
yeah.
It's
We're getting way too technical.
It's okay. You're allowed. It's your preference. It's kind of drawing back into it, though. You talked about going to churches and talking to theists. And do you do more of a debate, like a formal debate style, or do you prefer more of a conversation?
Yeah, I think more often than not, I prefer more of a conversation style. With that being said, a lot of the times that I'm doing this, it is structured at least somewhat in a debate, and in the sense of we have a proposition, we have like clear, definite sides, we take those positions, we have an opening, we have cross, we have a rebuttal, a closing, something along those lines, But I, for sure, on my end at the very least, I've seen a lot of more and more places that are not like academic, collegiate style or high school style debate where it's really, really structured. A lot of the other debates now seem to be more giving more time to open-ended discussion at the very least, where it's like, hey, we have like the first like 30 minutes of the debate may have this 10-minute, 5-minute thing, but then we have like 30 minutes of just pure open discussion where you two can just go back and forth. I think that a lot of times is really nice. And again, that's kind of more where I like to sit down and just be like, hey, we're going to talk about the problem of evil. And then, me, not somebody that really has to deal with this because I think God's bullshit. And then you, who is like, no, I've already figured this out. My God's great. And all of this is a misunderstanding. And we just kind of just see where it goes, And so I sit down, we're like, hey, man, okay. So like
the best.
Why do bunny rabbits get run over in the streets? And then you give me some whatever bullshit answer, But yeah, it's just kind of freewheeling, shooting the shit, seeing where it goes. That a lot of times is really where you can pull threads, I think, really well and kind of get to the crux of why people think something, because a lot of times it's not a fancy argument. It's there's some other attachment. So
which you do really well. I've seen you.
Well, thank you.
Do it a lot on the Talk Heathen, which is awesome. Thanks, you do amazing. Appreciate that. Absolutely, man. Go ahead, Stacey.
Oh, I was going to ask. So, seeing as you do debates with people, was debate something that helped you come out of the church? Like watching debates, was that kind of what led you out of it, or
so
you have an interest in it?
Kind of. I also did debate when I was younger as well in a more academic sense, that and a handful of other public speaking type things.
Nice.
But when I started kind of questioning a lot about religion, what I ended up kind of getting that first little chip in a sense was more in the line of morality. So I started asking myself, if it was possible to be a good person without God. And that was something that had just kind of stuck with me. And that was when I started looking into a couple of different, non-theistic ways to get to morality and kind of where that leads. And so, I'm some jackass walking around at like 16 talking about fucking Kant and the moral imperatives and shit. And I'm sure I was lots of fun for lots of people. Yeah, I'm sure everybody had a great time with that. But from there, it was, at that point in time, even though, I maybe felt better about that answer, I hadn't stepped away from God yet, but I was now in a boat where one of the things that really kind of kept me in the belief system was thinking for a long time that I couldn't be a good person without God. I really had to. The reason I was the good person that I thought I was because, of this awesomeness from the holy divinity of whatever. So that definitely led me more towards like, hey, okay, maybe I can look into some other things too. And ended up, checking out some debates, but also just hearing about some other world religions and just kind of figuring out that there's a lot more that a lot of other people think, and they disagree on a lot of it. And that eventually, would lead me into, again, a lot of the classic Hitchens, Harris stuff, debates, and William Lane Craig and Tureks and all that good stuff. And, eventually found places like Street Epistemology International, like Anthony Magnabosco and stuff. And just kind of continued, down that route. And still to this day, I mean, again, I'm just thrilled that I can participate in any way whatsoever. And I'm a huge fan of a lot of places. I love to just hang out and just watch stuff and just hear what's going on. So
is your family involved in the church?
Say again?
Is your family involved in the church?
Yeah, not anymore at this point. We don't really talk about it, but it's definitely not anything. I have good relationships with everyone in my family, and they all know. Although I will say, like, I don't know that my grandmother does, but also like it's never really been a thing that she's talked about too much. When I was younger, my mother was very much more religious and more involved. And then just as the years have gone on, it stopped coming up as much. She stopped going right around the time that I ended up stopping, leaving, doing all the music and stuff. And so, yeah, okay, for a few years, it just didn't really matter or anything. And just one day at dinner at a conversation, something. Oh yeah, God's not real. By the way, you don't believe in God anymore, Elliot? And it's like, wow, no, I don't. So,
and
pass
she,
the potatoes.
And she was okay.
Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, and that's I think that is something that kind of has motivated me to speak out against, the places where there is a lot of harm for people that have the complete and total opposite. Because unfortunately, I mean, like y'all know, there are so many wonderful people in this space that had such a terrible time because people were just jackasses for no other reason than the fact that they stopped believing a particular fairy tale. And so, I think that's bullshit. And I think I was very incredibly lucky to not have any of that really. And because of that, yeah, if I have an opportunity to try and get a few more people to, at the very least, like, hey, look, maybe you don't have to go like completely all the way in the direction of like, oh my God, this is absolutely atrocious that we're teaching people this. But if you can at least get to the, hey, my brother is gay and that's okay, even though I may not agree with it. I'm not going to hate you and kick you out on the streets and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's progress. I'll take that.
It's definitely progress. Yeah, not stoning anybody in the streets.
Yeah. I mean, it's the bar is low. I understand. I get this, but I'm telling you, the bar is that fucking low.
It
sucks.
Yes.
So, well, we'll take it when we can get it, right?
That's right, and it takes some patience. I don't know that anybody has the perfect answer to figuring all this stuff out, but that's why I think it's valuable that there are people that have different approaches. I'm not the perfect person to talk about everything, every topic, a lot of people like to bring a lot of topics to me that it's just like, oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't know why you would think. Yeah, I don't know anything about like, yeah. Like I read an article on like nuclear power plants once, but like I don't know that I have any insight or anything about it. But I think the more diversity that we have in our community, just like there is the diversity in the religious community, like the better off we're going to do. And part of that is just because of the numbers. Like the more people that are on our side that are, not for suppressing the truth and teaching religious garbage in schools to kids, like we're going to get better outcomes, I think. So, fight me on it if you want, I guess. But
here's to hoping, that's for sure. Holy cow.
Yeah, seriously.
So one of the questions here in the comment section is, how did you escape the whole church/cult community? What was the thing that finally broke the back? The straw. There's a thing in there. Camel straw back.
The straw that broke the camel's back.
There it is.
Yeah. I don't know that there was one thing specifically. And part of the reason that it was easy for me to not have a whole bunch of fallout when I started, questioning and wanted to step away was because the only thing that I was super connected with, I wasn't, really a part of youth group or anything. Like I'd go to Sunday school, I guess. But more often than not, if I was in church, it was because I was playing the music. And so like that was a lot less people. It was maybe like, I don't know, at the end of the day, 25 to 30 something people that like I really spent time with. And so I had other communities outside of that to begin with. And that was just really lucky that was the case. Again, I know with a handful of people, one of the things is it's like, oh, I literally don't have anybody else. And part of that is because of the cult behavior of attempting to keeping you in that insulated and isolated community. But the morality stuff really was a huge thing, like I said earlier, as well as learning about other religions and figuring out that a lot of people had a lot of different thoughts about stuff. And when you hear somebody like as somebody who took their faith seriously in and of the sense that like for a very long time, it wasn't a question to me in the sense somebody would say, hey, blah, 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 God doesn't exist, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know that it's God, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about God doing whatever. None of those questions ever mattered because my answer was always the same for everything. It basically was just a complete and total shutdown of the conversation. And I was like, right, but your silly, limited understanding of this situation couldn't possibly come to the level of how great and wonderful my God is. And therefore I don't need to think about it. And it wasn't haughty like that. It was this, fake happiness and love and stuff. Cause it was like, oh, see, that's okay, man. See, I understand that you're frustrated by that. And I am too, because I'm just a human, man. And you're just human like me. And God's just way cooler than both of us. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, that's a dick response. So
it sucks, man. But I mean, that's just the go-to,
Well, and it's one of the things that still to this day kind of cracks me up when I hear, really avowed and professing believers is they give a lot of explanation when at the end of the day, like their answer really should just be, this is because it's what I think. I believe in God.
My opinion.
That's just where I sit. I believe in God. I believe, and there's nothing you're going to say. And all of this other stuff at the end of the day, we can, talk about it and you can actually totally refute me to the point that I agree. And I'm just going to move right fucking past it because it doesn't matter because I believe. I don't know if either of y'all heard about William Lane Craig. Recently, he was on a show and somebody had asked a question about, shouldn't you raise your epistemic proof? Shouldn't you raise your epistemic standard, before believing in Christianity? And basically, what is touted as one of the tops of Christian high level thinkiness. Craig was like, no, I just hardcore like lowered the bar all the way to the ground. I was just like 1 in a million chance. If it's true, fuck it, I'm gonna believe it, and everything else doesn't matter. Wow. I mean, again, he obviously didn't say it exactly like that.
yeah.
Go find the clips, you guys.
I need to see this.
Oh, it's beautiful. And because I think for a lot of people that believe unfounded things like this, and it's obviously not just Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Sikhism. Trust me, there's Taoism. There's millions of them, as well as things like fairies and the Loch Ness Monster and ghosts and aliens visiting us and probing us and stuff. Like,
wait,
all
that's
of this.
not real? Come on.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, no. That was just me in a mask that time.
The long hair should have totally given it away. Aliens don't have long hair. Damn it.
Right, that's the part of this that's outside of the norm.
What the hell is going on, Neil says?
Yeah.
Wow. Shenanigans, Neil. Bunch of
you don't know either.
Oh shit. Well, we've reached the halfway point here. I need to promote what's going on later on the Secular Haven network here. Skeptic Haven, sorry, that's the Secular Soapbox on the Skeptic Haven network. I got this. Later on tonight, we're going to have the Skeptic Haven plugged, not unplugged, but we're going to be plugged because we need 1,000 subscribers. That is our goal for today. Tonight. That's tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have Human Rights with the Global Atheist. Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Pentecostal versus Calvinism, and Apostacie is going to be there for that one. Yay! Check it out. Absolutely.
And ex-Christian Aaron.
And ex-Christian Aaron.
Who is my sister-in-law.
That's amazing. Did you turn her to the dark side? Is it your fault?
No.
Okay.
No. We didn't. We did it completely separate. And had no idea.
That's awesome.
We have a huge extended family, and
that's pretty awesome.
It's good to have family in hell, with
it is.
Right?
If she's gonna be there, then I'll be happy there with
Somebody
her.
that can fix air conditioning is always a plus.
At least somebody there and
by now, right? Somebody's got ice cubes and all kinds of shenanigans.
I'm sure we'll go over our story on Saturday, so tune in to find out how we both became atheists separately. So
don't miss it. Either or be square.
Yeah.
We have a new question here from Joe from the comment section. It says, question for Secular: who is your favorite host or co-host from the ACA? You and Johnny Angel together was like Christmas for him.
Gosh, I really love Kenneth Leonard. Great guy.
He is awesome.
Yeah, love that dude. Student Dr. Ben, like I said earlier, is a great friend of mine. That guy's amazing. There's a lot of really, really good people that are regulars now and are hanging out. I mean, ex-Christian Aaron is
she's amazing.
Right? Yeah. So she was just on with Dan last Friday, right? Yeah. So if anybody hasn't seen it, just plug that. So there's a lot of really great people. I mean, I don't know if it's fair if I can say myself. And you didn't technically say I couldn't, Joe. So I guess formally I will say it's me. But
thanks for that question, Joe. So let's. Oh, there was another one. Farron says Elliot changes his name from Secular Rarity to Sexual Dexterity, depending on the company.
There's been
want to clear that up for us?
There's been a few different names that have gone around. Sexual Rarity.
Oh no.
That one, the Sexual Dexterity, actually is just a slight play on that. That one's really beautiful. There's a buddy of mine who has called me, oh gosh, let's see, spectacular hairpiece, testicular something, testicular Sperry's. No, I don't remember. But yeah, there's been a few backstage actually. just a couple days ago, Sunday, Johnny came on and his little screen name when he joined the StreamYard link was like something scarcity or something like
Spectacular hilarity.
Spectacular.
Thanks,
Hey, that's good. That's good.
Good one.
Yeah.
Good job, Neil.
Honestly, if anybody comes up with anything better, I'll take it. Like this.
I got
wasn't-
sexual narcolepsy. Is that one of them?
Yeah. It has been known to happen a couple of times. That story is for the Skeptic Haven Patreon only.
There you go.
So if you join the Patreon at the highest level tier and you send a message to them, I will gladly come back and record a full video explanation.
There it is.
My sexually transmitted narcolepsy.
There it is.
I will put it on their Patreon. So you guys, you got to pay for it.
Oh, man. I'm gonna have to do that because I missed it earlier.
Yeah,
Stacey got to hear it,
no. I got you, man. I got
Okay.
you. Don't worry. Yeah. First is always free. The taste is always free.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Do you have any plans to do your own show at some point?
I've been tossing around the idea. I'm not entirely positive where I would want to go just yet. With it, there's a lot of different things that I would love to talk about. So, I mean, just because we were kind of talking about the name earlier, one of the reasons that I ended up choosing the name Secular Rarity was because I wanted something that had like secular or humanist or atheist, skeptic in the name. Those are all things that, you know, you could probably put in a little word cloud as like important thoughts to me.
Right.
And so definitely the idea of secular governments and engaging in a secular way, I think is something that is really important. And there's a lot of stuff that flows right in hand, obviously, with, you know, humanism and atheism. So I don't know exactly what I would do is basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I like the idea of doing something that's maybe a bit more focused on secularism. I don't know that there's a bunch in that space, or as much as I think would be worthwhile, because it's not
More.
yeah, and it's not anti-religion, and I think that gets misconstrued a lot of times when people talk about secularism. Some of the biggest champions of secularism, specifically historically in the United States, have been very avowed religious people, and for good reason, because they know that without a government that is free from religion, they will never be free to practice their religion. And so it's beneficial for all of us. So that, yeah, that's kind of one thing I'm playing with, but also like, again, I get really lucky, and people like you are dumb enough to say, hey, come on for an hour and say stupid things. And yeah.
Tell us stories.
Yeah.
Come on, Elliot. Tell me a story. Well, I appreciate you're awesome, man.
I'm happy.
A great
to.
guest. Absolutely.
thanks.
So how about a book? Anything?
Oof.
A book, maybe? You've been writing? Any songs? Maybe he's like an atheist song. I've heard a few.
Okay.
I know Steve Martin has one.
There is not as much atheist music out there as I would like. There are a handful of different people, especially like recently, like the good man Oz over at Tang, I think, is actually about to release an album. Which is which is really cool, really cool. And then
Oz here,
there's
verify that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and there's some other really good people like Blatant Blatheist and Black Atheist Rants. They actually put out a whole album as well. Some really good stuff.
Nice.
And it'd be great if we had Philosophy and Dancing Tips.
There you go.
God,
I would watch that.
I mean, you
Once a month, at least.
nailed it on that one, man. Oh, the dancing tips would just be very old very quickly and just be like, ice your elbows and your shoulders. They're gonna hurt. Like you're just gonna stand here waving your arms.
Don't step on her toes.
Oh, I'm a notoriously bad dancer. Pat knows.
Oz announced it yesterday that he's gonna do the album. Nice.
Yeah. See,
Congrats,
awesome.
Oz.
Yeah, and there's Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say I have heard some like deconstruction songs coming out lately, just from people I don't know all their names, but it is nice to hear.
And there's a
not easy to
handful
do.
of for
but
sure.
It is nice because then it's something you can really relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's good songs a lot of times.
it is. It is really good songs. Yeah.
There's a couple that are much older that I know that are more in like a comical vein. So like there's one song which is one of my favorites in the non-religious atheist like music genre, I guess, which is not really a genre, but it's called The Hand of the Almighty, and like the chorus is like God'll fuck you up, like do what God says or God'll fuck you up. And it's just like stories like awesome. It's just like it's really great, it's like really happy and like upbeat. Nice. And it just turns around
really happy and upbeat.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Something you can like clap along to in church.
Gotta do with the fist though.
Yeah, that's better.
Here comes Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's awesome. No, I mean, Steve Martin did "Atheists Don't Have No Song." That was always a good one. It's a classic.
Which, by the way, Steve Martin, I mean, really good actually.
God, like he's awesome. Is there anything he can't do?
Crazy.
Tap dance, sing.
I think I saw he was. I don't know if it was like a small tour or something, but
and Martin Short were going to do a tour together. They are doing a tour together.
Okay, yeah, okay,
man.
Cool.
It's like super expensive. I would totally go see it.
Yeah.
Who's got that kind
The Wu-Tang Clan came to my city a few years ago, and it was like $700 a ticket for like the shitty like back of the bucket.
Nosebleeds.
Yeah,
God
like,
damn. No way.
Yeah, I mean, it was
really
really
$30
funny.
is too expensive for a concert.
My buddy was like, "Oh, dude, Wu-Tang," and I was like, "Oh man, I mean, I'm not like a huge rap fan. That's not like my number one thing, but I know like you're a really big fan, and I like Wu-Tang, man. I listen to a good bit of their stuff, but still, it's not like my favorite thing. But yeah, man, check how much tickets are. Like, let's go." And he's like, "Dude, this would be so cool, man. They haven't been on tour for never mind." No,
that was short-lived. No way, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, hey, again, good for them. Get their money. I get it, but
I wonder if they sold out.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. They did.
Some people would pay that.
Yeah, for sure.
Cat the Humanist says that I shall now worship secular rarities dancing.
I will tell you, Cat, as that which is receiving your worship, I will say you could probably do better. But I will still gladly take it, and I will bestow blessings on you. I'm not like those other gods.
But the river dance,
those gods not coming through. Like
that's a lot. So, what dancing style do you do?
Oh no.
Do you do any dancing? There's a lot of dancing going on right now.
So it's a while ago. I guess it was probably maybe a year ago was the first time I was ever hanging out with Oz over on Tang on a live stream, and something, I don't remember what it was. I think I was just like trying to show, woo, I'm excited. And I just kind of went, woo, yeah. And that's just my dancing style, and it's that and that alone. And so yeah, a lot of people have compared it to those like wacky waving inflatable arm tube man things.
The car dealerships.
It's more Steve Martin is what that is. It's just his style of dancing.
See, thank you. I think that's that's a much better comparison.
We can, cut the dance floor, man.
But yeah, I normally charge people, and you guys got that. That's free. That's okay. We don't have to update the contract or anything.
So when's the dance video coming out?
yeah, one of these days. Yes. I'm working on that. Yeah.
And
top
one,
of the
and two, and
yeah. First thing you're gonna want to do is raise your hands way above your head and just kind of dislocate your shoulders for a second
and have a seizure.
Back and forth.
Oh, too much fun. Oh my God. So
yeah.
what is now? You were in the church for a while, so do you have a favorite Bible verse?
So, yeah, in general, when people ask me about kind of some of my favorite Bible verses, Job is where I like to go with a lot of them, because Job is just a great book. That was one of the books that I loved. You know, when I was younger, I did a total 180 on how I saw the book, and that was always really fun. That it stuck
That's
with me.
cool.
The line that God says to Job, like the very first time in that book, is, you know, all the way at the end of the story. God's done all these terrible things, him and Satan with a bet and all this, and Job is like on his last leg. He's standing on a mountain, screaming at a tornado and thunderstorms, basically. And you know, God finally appears and responds to him, and Job is basically like, "Why, God? Why have you done all this terrible stuff to me?" And God's basically like, "Fuck you, Job. You're nothing. I beat Leviathan.
Yeah.
I bring the rains. I made the sun. Fuck
How
you."
dare
And
you?
it's
That's
like,
just that's just how
literally-
dare you speech. I love that
it's
one.
What
literally-
translation is that?
yeah. No, I'm
You gotta
paraphrasing
I
a
know,
bit, but
I'm joking.
yeah, that's basically like if somebody came to you today, like imagine going to a partner, right, and saying like, "Oh my gosh, like, why did you just spill milk all over the floor and just leave it? Like, why did you let our dogs outside and just let them run away? Like, why is the sink running and like laundry's just scattered all over the floor?" And their response was like, "Fuck you. Where were you when I bought those clothes? Like, I got the milk. I picked it up at the grocery store. I don't give a damn about your." It'd be like, "Whoa, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
We're supposed to be in this together. Like, why are you doing this?" Like, God, I was like really faithful and shit, like worshiping you and stuff, and you were all like, "Yeah, no."
Job 2:3 is definitely one of my favorites, and he still remains his integrity, or say maintains his integrity, though you enticed me against him to ruin him without any reason. That's so grotesque.
Yeah.
That's so grotesque. And it's like a lot of Christians don't know about that line that's in there that just essentially says that Satan tricked Yahweh. And no idea. You're just reading it out of context. Job,
if I remember correctly, that's one of the, like, archaeologically speaking, that's one of the oldest narratives we have. In the corpus, and that's really interesting because you can find a lot of different references to a lot of different cultures and things in there, but it also does, like, it brings up some questions, you know, because it's like,
big ones.
Hey, this guy kind of seems like a jerk for no reason. And it's like, but like Satan was different back then. It's like, I don't think that's the problem I have with this. So,
I don't think you're getting it. Let's try reading it again. No, see, I talk to theists all the time, and they love going to Job, and I pick out these little verses such as, you know, were you there? Or, you know, Satan tricked Yahweh, and they just oblivious, and it's just, oh no, you're just reading out of context. It's beautiful. Job is just such an inspiration to us all.
It's amazing the connections and stuff people will make in their head when they're forced to make those types of connections, you know, because in any other, I think I heard like Dr. Joshua Bowen saying something about this once where he was explaining like, you know, like how Joseph got to Egypt, right? And that's in his first volume of the Atheist Handbook. And he was explaining it on a show one day, and at the end of it, he was like, "Now look, like, technically there is this super convoluted answer," and he gave it, and it was like, "Oh man, I mean, yeah, I guess, okay, there's nothing technically, logically, or physically impossible in that story, but it just sounds really dumb, you know?" And basically his response was like, "Yeah, like, I guess that could have been it, but nobody in any other context for any other thing having this much problems with a story would have gone through this. We would have stopped trying like 4 mistakes ago.
Yeah.
We'd have just been like, oh yeah, this isn't right, you know?"
No. Chris just pushed right through all that. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
mow it
I mean,
over.
yeah, I know.
Jesus
It's-
lawnmower. Oh my God. There it is. The Jesus lawnmower.
Lawnmower.
Just
Okay. There you go.
right over all the. Is that
A big-
reason?
Yeah.
Give me your logic.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
no.
imagining the blade is just like a cross that's like
Yes!
been sharpened and it just like swings around.
You got Jesus on it. You got to have Jesus on it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm writing this down. Jesus mower. I'm putting it somewhere in my show as it's happening. I love it. Oh, I love it. Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I did have another question for you besides
Please.
all the fun ones here.
I'm here for as long as you guys can tolerate me. So
Why do you hate God?
right.
I mean, I just
Well,
gotta know.
Right.
There's
So
just so much hatred.
I was like 6 years old and it was a really hot day and I really wanted ice cream.
That motherfucker wouldn't bring it to me.
Yeah. I definitely don't. What I hate is the portrayal of the character, right?
There
Like
you go.
this person's a piece of shit. This
Yeah.
entity
There's
is
no
is
way
an
around
absolute
it.
ass. Yeah. And in just like the most plain reading, that's pretty much where we sit. There's also the complete inconsistency of it as well. But in the best readings, in the best understandings, really trying to be as charitable as possible, really trying to give as much ground as possible. You just most of the time end up landing on like, if that's what you mean at the end of the day, that kind of really doesn't matter. That's not really important for like life at this point. And it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of the case. And yet people from there still take that to just do all types of atrocities and just be weird and mean to each other for no reason. And like just avoid doing some really simple things. Like, I don't know, stop licking the same spoon as after you dip it in freaking grape juice when a virus is traveling around the world. That was a big problem for the Greek Orthodox, dude. Like that was an issue for them. They had to really sit down and think about it. And they were like, what are we going to do with people now? Normally we like dip the spoon and we serve it to them. How are we going to give them the blessings of Jesus? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe they can buy their own damn grape juice for a few months. But
it's like when they drained the holy water during the whole COVID thing too. How effective is your holy water if you have to drain it during?
Right. What's your holy water doing for me here?
Yeah,
it seems
exactly.
problematic. Yeah,
It seems like it's carrying things at this point.
yeah. And there
Should I not be touching it?
are people who are devoutly Hindu who gladly wade all the way under the Ganges River as there is clear and obvious pollution traveling down it, because when they were younger, somebody told them about, fucking Ram and Shiva and Krishna and stuff, and they really liked it and they stuck with it apparently. And it's like, dude, what? Why are you doing this? Like, you're basically just drinking bleach right now. Please don't do that. Yeah, this is terrible. And I don't like any of that. So, again, I'm not really mad at the whole God guy, I guess. But
I guess.
He's all right.
We do have another question here. We got another question from Aunt Jer. She wants to know if you have ever considered doing something different with your hair. He's a real serious
I guess technically the answer is yes, I have. The problem is, like, I've had this kind of thing going on for I don't know how many years now. It's been quite a while. I'm also very lazy about it. So it's like, like the only times anything major has ever happened with my hair has been when, a friend of mine around me was like, hey, can I do this with your hair? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I guess. How long is it going to take? And they're like, 3 hours. I've had my hair like braided and dreaded and cut and permed and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Permed.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Dude, I've done all kinds of straightened and curled up and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Wow. Just over the years, people that apparently have time and hair supplies are just see what we can do.
The patience for it. I couldn't do it. Yeah. No way, man. So out of all the years you've been doing this, the two, have you heard a good argument from Christians?
No.
Yeah. Same.
I haven't heard a good argument for anything religious. I mean, there are arguments that I put at like, okay, maybe the better end of the tier, I guess. But at the end of the day, where I stand is slightly, just a little bit more nuanced than a couple of other people when it comes to like the atheist label. I take the positive stance that every single deity or divinity or supernatural entity that has ever been described to me is not real. I do take that stance. The God that is described in the Torah does not exist. I take that.
What?
Gladly, I will take that burden of proof there.
Bursting all my bubbles here today.
When it comes to like general concepts of gods, or can I just say outright every single concept of God that could be out there? No. Okay. I don't take the positive stance on that stuff, but everything else, yeah, it's like when somebody talks to me about Brahman, it's like, no, Brahman definitely is not real. That's not real. I feel good about that. Allah, nope, not there, not a thing. So
Spider-Man,
again, like, yeah. I mean,
maybe
jury's out. Yeah, jury's out.
I've seen video, man. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen him swing around.
Well, the Hulk is real. We've confirmed that, and so because we know that the Hulk is real and Spider-Man and the Hulk are friends, I think that lends credibility.
Well, I met Spider-Man in Disneyland, so he's
okay. Well, there you go.
I have
There it is.
There
it is. I met Superman once, so I mean, Superman's got to be real, right? I mean, it's how it works, right?
Disney is the most magical place on earth, so I mean,
talking mice
confirmed.
Exactly.
Better than the Bible, right off the bat there.
100%.
All right. Any closing statements from anybody? We've run into the end of it here. Secular Rarity, you got anything to say to us before we leave? No pressure.
Honestly, just I could again. I never shut up. Like I could keep going for another 30 minutes straight. Like backstage, you guys are like, "All right, man, we're just gonna leave.
Go eat dinner."
I really appreciate it. It was a really, really fun time. I'm glad you guys had me on. I love to come back anytime you guys want. And thank you for what y'all do, because it's very important that we just have more people speaking. So
absolutely. The more atheists out there speaking their minds, the better if it is, for sure. Want to name off our patrons for the day: Phil, Calderone, Aaron Coalson, Sunny Shell, Cindy Plaza, Kathy Cotton, Bryce, Deborah Grace, and Bassthrasher. That's a great name. Thanks, guys, for all the support. Thank you guys for showing up today. Appreciate your help. Apostacie, always.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is, I believe, all the show we have for you today, guys. We'll see you next week.